Hello, and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I'm Xavier Rodriguez with Triance, and we are partnering with CDO Magazine, MIT CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers in a series of interviews. Today, I have the pleasure of speaking with Kirsten Margaret Moody, Chief Data Officer at Prudential Financial. Kirsten is responsible for Prudential's enterprise data and analytics function, including the enterprise data strategy, data management and governance, data and modeling platforms, master data management, and analytics. She joined the company in June 2020. It's very nice to speak with you, Kirsten, today.
Thank you. Nice to speak with you as well.
First, I'd like our listeners to hear a little bit about your career journey. Can you talk about the career experiences and influences that led to your current leadership role?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had over 20 years of experience working with business teams and leaders on how to think about effective use of technology, data, analytics, business processes to improve or transform business results and outcomes. So my career has taken me on those topics in many different directions. I got my start actually in consulting, working on building custom applications, custom software applications for how to think about the transformation of data in business processes into what was sort of at the time one of the early generations of digital transformation. So that was a very interesting early role for me that exposed me to a variety of different companies and industries. So spent a fair amount of time in the pharmaceutical industry, had a project at Harley-Davidson, for example, working on HD.com. So had a lot of different exposure to different types of problems or opportunities within businesses that ultimately had solutions rooted in technology, data, analytics, and business process transformation. From consulting, went to Thomson Reuters and spent a good number of years in what was then the healthcare and science division of Thomson Reuters, really looking at similar types of problems, and had a number of different roles at Thomson Reuters in the product organization, in the PMO, and ultimately in the IT division. From there, went to a company called IRI, which is a data analytics firm for the consumer products industry, where I ran the global IT department for IRI, and was recruited from IRI to join Unilever, where I was the vice president for information and analytics at Unilever, working on information and analytics topics for Unilever's global functions, markets, and categories. And then that sort of interestingly took me to State Farm, where I was the inaugural Chief Data and Analytics Officer at State Farm. And then from State Farm, sort of found my way to Prudential, where I'm the inaugural Chief Data Officer at Prudential. So I think it's been a career that has had a lot of different exposures to industries and business problems, but the common thread is really around data, around technology, and that intersection with people and business processes, and how you really bring them together to have improved business outcomes or business results. So one of your questions was really about career experiences that were particularly formative. And my undergraduate degree is actually in economics. So I did not have formal training in technology when I started out of university in the technology consulting company. So it was a very interesting and challenging first few years in the workforce, because my learning curve was very different from that of most of my new colleagues. And I would say, in retrospect, it was an extremely valuable experience of learning how to dive into the deep end, where your background, the experiences that you bring into a situation are potentially much less than those surrounding you, with your new colleagues. So I think sort of those early experiences were really the most formative in diving in to the deep end and really sort of rolling up the sleeves and figuring out how all of this works. And it was really where I sort of fell in love with technology and data and how you can bring them to bear on different business problems.
I must say, Kirsten, you have an impressive career journey. Thanks for sharing that. Let's talk about building a chief data office. What have you learned from your experiences that you're applying at Prudential, specifically regarding the organizational structures and the people that comprise the chief data office?
Yeah, so first and foremost, the Chief Data Office needs to be viewed and received as a trusted partner to both business and to technology colleagues. So as I think about building out an organizational structure, building out a team, it's really against that backdrop of, are we doing these things in such a way that they build trust with the business and with technology colleagues? So with the people who are coming together in that team, talent is really a first and foremost topic. So how we focus on the delivery and the development of talent, how we attract talent into the Chief Data Office to really fuel the program is a first topic that needs to be addressed and to have visible evidence that our words and our actions are the same thing. Within that talent mix, it's paying special attention to the mix of skills, the mix of backgrounds, both business and technical backgrounds, educational backgrounds, cultural backgrounds, different professional experiences, life experiences that are really coming into the team to really live the diversity and the inclusion ambitions that we all have. When we think about organizational structures, the hub and spoke operating model is one that I personally find to be compelling and to have demonstrated success. So the hub is the area in the department. It's those teams that are working on delivery of the enabling data platforms. So these platforms really are focused on data management and governance, master data management, IML platforms, and they are working on the data trust, the data governance, the data availability issues or opportunities, if you want to think of them that way, that we have. The spoke teams are those teams that have the expertise in how to use the data. So, for example, these are data science or business intelligence teams. And these spoke teams are expected to be embedded within the business. They are shoulder to shoulder with their business and peer CIO colleagues to really understand business strategy and how the use of data and data solutions elevates strategic outcomes, reveals new strategic opportunities for the business, or is in some way helping to drive a business result that is strategically sought after. So that hub and spoke operating model, where it's very clear that the hub platforms are connected very much into the portfolio and the roadmaps of the spoke, and the spoke is connected into the business, is a structure that I find is robust and ultimately helps to settle the existence of the CDO organization pretty quickly, and have the office itself become an accepted part of the enterprise.
Absolutely. And I think it comes down to that value delivery, partnering very closely with the business. And the model that you're advocating certainly speaks to that. So that's really great. You have a strong track record of harmonizing the delivery of information management, reporting simplification, advanced analytics, cognitive computing, and master data solutions. What has been the biggest challenge you have encountered while operationalizing your data transformation vision? Is it people, process, technology challenges?
It's actually all of those areas. And I would say the biggest challenge, let's think about it as the biggest opportunity really happens when simultaneously you are working on people, you are working on process, and you are working on technology transformation. And that's really what is to be expected with leading chief data office organizations. We are on the forefront with others in the partnership to help drive transformation, visible transformation for the business. So, getting back to the earlier remarks, it's also why trust is so important. If one is going to be working on the forefront of business transformation, you need to be trusted and to trust those who are partnering with you in that journey. So I think the biggest challenge or opportunity, as I said, is really thinking about the types of transformations that you have in the people, in the talent. So these are upskilling, reskilling, new talent acquisition, new jobs, new job descriptions that are coming into the organization very rapidly. With technology, going from current or legacy technology into more tech-forward platforms, and how we transition or sunset current platforms in favor of that new technology is always has its own set of challenges. And then the processes that surround both of those topics are ones that typically have been used for quite some time. And as we start to push on modernizing processes, there's always a bit of sort of awkwardness as you're moving from a well understood process into one that is new, and there's a learning curve and an adoption curve that goes along with that.
Absolutely. And I must say, you've accomplished quite a bit in the relatively few months that you're here at Prudential. You started your current role in June of last year during the first wave of the pandemic, I must say.
Yes.
How was it starting a new job? A new round, of lockdowns was starting, and we were all realizing this wasn't going to be over in just a few months.
It was a very interesting time to start a new role. When I was in discussions with Prudential in the April-May timeframe, it really wasn't clear that we would be in a pandemic lasting over a year. So I started in June of 2020. I've been to Prudential's headquarters once. I spent, I think, a grand total of about 4 or 5 hours in the office. I've met only 2 people in my direct report team in person. Everything else has been virtual. So I think it is definitely a professional experience that I wasn't quite expecting it to be this long, to be virtual for this long. And but it's been largely quite positive. I think because everybody has been in the same position. We're all virtual, and we're all very much invested in having a successful launch of the Chief Data Office. So while our ways of working have adapted into an entirely virtual mode, I think the hearts and the minds of the team are still very much invested in the work, and we've made a success of it. And I give tremendous credit to Prudential for enabling that through the technology, through the kind of flexibility that people are able to have during their day, working virtually, and to the individuals, to the humans in the team who have really been very sort of creative, who've been very adaptive, and incredibly supportive of each other through this difficult time. So yes, it was interesting, but ultimately it was quite a success. And I'm just very pleased and humbled to have been part of it.
Glad to hear. I've been speaking with Cherson Moody, Chief Data Officer at Prudential Financial. Look for part 2 of the series right here at CDO Magazine, where we'll talk about selling AI to the organization and becoming AI proficient. Please visit cdomagazine.tech for additional interviews. Thank you so much, Cherson.